Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm up. Okay, trades last week. So Monday's trade. This was the first one here. We had buys at 2025. We had a 15-minute OB here, tapped into, and then moved on to the 1 minute, I believe it was. Here, 1 minute, we had market structure shift here to the upside. Then did my fib from the bottom to the top, and I think my entry was like here. Entry was there, and then I think I had my stops at the bottom of this low here, but price decided to keep pushing down and just disrespect the whole setup completely. Even though this was a nice setup, this usually does work. I mean, I've traded this setup lots of times and it has worked, but we had price instead come further down to around this area here, about 2017, which I think if you look on the 1 hour was also a good point of interest as well, was 2017. About this area here. So price decided to react there instead of here, and I think it took out this liquidity here and wanted to react to this here instead. I mean, it even took out that, but buys it here would have been a better place than buys up here. So that was the first trade, minus 1% on that one. I was going in with a bearish bias, obviously thinking that price would push down further, so about 2005 around that point. So then if I look at this one here, let's go to the 5 minute. This trade here was a stupid trade because we're consolidation here of price literally just going up and down, up and down. I thought, my thinking was once price kind of broke this low here, we're going to have a push up, you know, manipulation to push up and then, you know, come back down, sweeping these lows and pushing further down. But price obviously, because after consolidation, started to push back up, wanting to reach these highs up here before reacting. So price came up here, reacted to the fair value gap first, came down a bit, a lot of consolidation in Asian session, took out then this high, took out this high as well. I think it reacted to the fib. If we do from this high down to here, to make it clearer. Yeah, so price swept liquidity here, reacted to the fib, came straight back down. So again, that was a stupid sell. I don't even know why I entered that sell there. So we had, you know, market structure shift to the downside, fib here, short around here with stops at the highs, targeting the lows, and again, you know, we got a little bit of profit, came back up, back down, but then price just powered through, and I think this was news, I think came in here, just fully powered back up, as I said, until tapped into this golden zone, sweeping the liquidity at 2040 before again coming back down. Coming back down, I think he could have entered maybe off the fib here. Yeah, again, entry then would have been the best off the fib here after we swept that liquidity and also tapped into our golden zone. So entries for a short would have been best about 2040 instead of down here. Again, all this was due to impatience. You know, on this trade I noticed we had lows down here that also needs to be swept, but I went for the first opportunity and just took it instead of waiting for price to react better to my setup. It was a buy at 2030, so let's look at that. 830, yeah, and the price was 2030 entry price here, right? Okay. Oh yeah, I remember this trade. Okay, right, 2030 stops were at 20 to 29.3. This trade was so stupid. So here we had a sweep of Asian low, and we also had a sweep of previous day low, but instead of waiting for a market structure shift or a and retracement into fib, I would just enter straight off liquidity sweep, which should never do again. That's me being impatient. So we got stopped out, literally stopped out straight away, and then pushed up in, you know, perfect set would have been there. So the optimal entry on this would have been wait for price to sweep the lows, come up, market structure shift here. This would have been the perfect setup. Fib from the low to the high, And then instead of entry being there, entry would be equilibrium of the fib, with either the stops here or stops here. I'd probably put my stops at this low here, but it's up to you. Stops there, targeting this high here, there. So that could have been a lovely, 1 to 6 risk to reward trade. If I was just a bit more patient, just waiting for price to play out more, waiting for that market structure shift, waiting for the nice fib back into fib. So that's really unlucky, that trade that we got stopped out right here, and then price pushed all the way up to hit our TP. That was just a lot of impatience from me. So that's again -1%. And last week really taught me that if I'm not patient with the markets, then it will fuck you over, because it's not here to make you money, it's here to make you lose money. So you need to be smart about it.
So what, because we took a losing week, right? What is it that you're going to do going into the next week to make sure that you're being patient and waiting for those optimal setups?
Yeah, so that's a good question, actually. Surprisingly. So next week,
because I'm not gonna lie, I'm an impatient person. I'm one of the most impatient people you ever meet. So it's very hard for me to price bounce off of something and shoot off in a direction and maybe like, all right, yeah, it's gonna come back down. Like, no, I'm thinking price is going. I find myself in situations like this as well sometimes. So absolutely, and I think everybody does.
Yeah, 100%.
Trading careers, like they're impatient about it, even if some might be more impatient than others. My question is again, what are going to be some practices or steps that you're going to take to make sure that you're being patient?
Yeah. Okay. So as last week, as I said, this past week, gold price action was not really reacting my setups. Like for example, this first trade here, I thought was a good trade. This would have probably worked out 80% of the time for me. So I think gold price action last week was just disrespecting my setups that go with my strategy. So when that happens and you notice that gold isn't respecting your strategy or the way you trade, that's when you don't want to enter as many trades or even no trades that week. So you want to think, okay, if I see this perfect A+ setup that I know it covers all my confluences, like all my super liquidity, tapping a higher time frame order block, market structure shift, fib retracement, if all them confluences fit that fit my chart, then it is okay to enter and I will accept that loss. But if you go into a trade saying, okay, I've only got a liquidity sweep and a market structure shift, that's all I've got, and then you enter and you lose, you should think, okay, that was my fault because I didn't have all of my confluences that I usually like to see when I do a trade. So if you don't see all those confluences you want that week, then you should enter no trades at all. You should have your first loss off a good setup, and then if you see nothing else for the rest of the week, that's it. You're down 1% that week. But for me, on the last week that's just gone, I was very impatient. I didn't wait for all my confluences to show up before I entered. I just thought, okay, let's get in here. So it was just like a bad psychology week for me. Kind of